Dr. Stein, could you please tell me your position on balancing the budget?
Okay. So we want to aim towards balancing the budget. However, let me say that in an economic crisis like what we're in now, cutting back on social programs and on jobs is actually the worst thing you can do for economic recovery. So consider like after the Second World War when we had a big budget deficit. That's what the Green New Deal is about, creating the stimulus package of our dreams.
So balance the budget by spending more.
Well, strangely enough, this is how we actually grow the budget. We grow our revenues. But let me also say there are things we do need to cut. We need to cut our bloated and dangerous military budget, which is eating up.
On Facebook, Jared Thuman posted, the Green Party platform calls for the breaking up of any firm with more than a 10% market share. Why?
This is not a healthy thing when the economy is controlled by a few. Like our media has been incredibly consolidated, and as that has happened, we've lost a diversity of our discussion. Or health insurance has become consolidated. We need to use our antitrust laws to ensure that we have a diversity in our economy.
So Amazon, Gatorade, they all have more than 10%. You would just break them up, put them out of business. I mean, I like Amazon. I like Gatorade.
So, you know, let me put that 10%.
Gatorade has something like 70% of the market.
Very interesting. Well, you know, I'm not too concerned about the Gatorade market, to tell you the truth, but I am very concerned about the health insurance market.
But how would you decide? You said break up all companies that have more than 10%.
Yeah. Well, let me say that might be kind of a holdover on the website. There are a few things that we need to clean up that are not really part of our agenda that we're working on now.
Here's a question about education.
As president, what would be your plan to help better America's public school education system?
Great. So we need to fund our public schools like they count. And we need to recognize that the biggest obstacle to educating students is actually a thing called poverty. So simply imposing high-stakes testing on school systems that are impoverished to start with and that don't have adequate resources is not going to educate our kids, especially in the most challenged communities. So number one, we need small classroom size. We need well-paid teachers who actually have respect and dignity in the classroom, who have unions to support their work in the school system.
But they have that now.
Well,
we're spending $12,000 per student. It's $300,000 per classroom.
And there are some schools in which you have 50 kids in a classroom and they just don't have textbooks. Look at Detroit, where they don't even have heat, where the schools are
50
crumbling.
kids in a classroom?
We need to ensure, yeah, they actually do. I was just there, I can tell you. We need to ensure that we are actually teaching to the whole student for lifetime learning, not just to a high-stakes test used as an excuse to privatize and charterize our public schools.
On Facebook, Patrick Jones posts, you say you want to eliminate student loan debt. Are you going to force colleges and universities to refund the exorbitant tuition they charged that ran the debt so high?
Well, if we could find it in our hearts to bail out the crooks on Wall Street, we can bail out the young people who are the victims of that crashed economy.
The questioner also asked, are you going to make the colleges refund the exorbitant tuition?
No, because these loans have been taken out, you know, from actually the government is sort of the provider of last resort on these loans. These are predatory loans that few people can pay back. Why should a younger generation go into debt, lifelong debt, because very few people ever get out of student loan debt? Would you throw your kids into the ocean without teaching them to swim? Young people
no.